everyone to this session today, which is Latrobe City Council's Small Business Grants Program grant writing information session. So we've got a significant round of grants coming soon and already open, and this is some ideas and ways on how you guys can make it better, make it the best application that you've ever done. This is being run by the SBMS, the Small Business Mentoring Service, and we really appreciate you all attending today. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're all meeting today. We had a discussion before we started and found out that we're all sitting in totally different places. I'm on the Gunai Kurnai land of the Barracklelan people, and I am very, very honoured that they let me live, work and play on their land. I have my respects to all their elders past and present, and to all of you from where you're coming from today. My name is Andrea Stanlake. I'm with Latrobe City Council's Business Development team, and I'd really, really like to welcome the team from Small Business Mentoring Service. We've got Barry from the programs team, and we've got Tara McInnes as well from the programs team. And we've got our really, really well recognised and wonderful speaker today, who's Sally Ann Lawrence. She is an experienced grant writer, and she's a business mentor with the service as well. So there will be an opportunity for questions. Anyone who wants to ask a question can just put it in the chat, and we will be dealing with those throughout the presentation and towards the end of it as well. So thank you. Sally, over to you.
Thank you, Andrea. That was a great introduction. Firstly, please excuse the barking dogs. I can't do anything about them. They just decide to do this under my window at the very wrong moment. Welcome everyone to the Latrobe City Council Opportunity Awaits Grant Writing webinar. As Andrew said, my name's Sally Ann Lawrence and I am your grant writing guide today. I'm supported by Barry Barber, who's the Director of Programs at SBMS. He gave you a wave earlier. And also Tara, who's new to our team and in our CBD office. Barry is going to be monitoring the chat for us to ensure that we don't miss any of your questions. We were going to have Zane, weren't we, Andrea? But you are filling in for Zane today.
Yes, Zane is unfortunately unwell. Apparently in Sally's presentation there is a reference to Zane's contact details, and that's accurate, that you know Zane is still the right person. He's just unfortunately unwell today, so you got me instead.
Thanks, Andrea. And perhaps when we get to that slide, maybe we could say that again just to make sure that it is clear to people. So I'd like to firstly begin by saying congratulations to everyone who's attending the webinar today, and for everyone who's watching it at a later date, because I know you've all got busy lives, but we want to ensure that you have a thorough understanding of this new grant round. So here's what we are going to cover today up on this slide. We're going to be looking at the grant at a glance, the eligibility essentials, writing to win, which is of course what we all want to do, a bit about Smarty grants and submitting, because sometimes the platform can be a bit confusing for people. And then we're going to look at some common pitfalls and where you can get support. So let's get started. So this slide's about me, and that's a bit boring. You already know a little bit about me, but just to give you a quick wrap up, I've been on every side of the grant. So I've written grants for LGAs like Latrobe. I have also successfully written grants for my own business. I have assisted people to write grants, and I have assessed grants. So I've seen it from every angle, and also have done a bit of quality assurance and governance for grants programs that have been written by other organisations, just to make sure that they are fair and that they meet all of the guidelines. So I think that's enough about me. Let's get into what we're looking at today, which I love the name, Andrew. It's fantastic. Opportunity awaits. That is just so clever. It really is. Okay, so let's talk about what the grant is about. It's a capital works grant, and it's designed to activate vacant shop fronts, specifically in Moe and Morwell. So if you live somewhere else like Terralgan or Churchill, I hope I'm still in the right area, then unfortunately this is not the grant for you. It's specifically Moe and Morwell, and it is specifically the CBD. So it's for new or expanding small businesses, not relocations without growth. The focus is really clear that it's for vacant shopfront activation, no home offices and no pop-ups. Now, there is a question here. Perhaps Andrea can have a little think about this and we'll come back to it in another section. So I'm giving a heads up here, Andrea. If there was a shop, if somebody wanted to start a business that wasn't literally a shop front, say it was in a garage style, but still in the CBD, I don't know if these exist because I haven't been to Moe and Morwell for probably a decade or more. But if they were still doing a retail type business, say moving from a home-based business to a retail business, whether that would actually be covered under a shop front. Is that a curly question?
No, not at all. And I can answer that straight away. Yes, it would. As long as it's in the CBD, there would be eligibility for the full grant. Yes.
Fabulous. That's great. Because that was the one question that came to my mind when I was actually creating the slide deck. So there is only one stream, and it's for capital costs like fit out, equipment and signage. And importantly, it is competitive. So it's not first in, best dressed. So it's really important that you do meet the criteria. You're being scored, and it's not just checked for eligibility, which is the first gate or hurdle that you have to meet. And it's not first in, best dressed. It is merit based. So this is about why this grant exists. The grant's not just about funding, it's about revitalisation. And I think it's a really good idea to be keeping this in mind as you are actually reading through the grant criteria and thinking about the business idea that you want to put forward. Council wants to create vibrancy, growth and renewal in Moe and Morwell. So make sure that when you're thinking about your business idea, you're thinking about those type words, vibrancy, growth and renewal. First, it is to increase occupancy in vacant shop fronts, bringing life back to the empty streets. Second, to create local jobs, especially where small businesses can support local employment. Third, to lift the CBD's appeal in both the places, Moe and Morwell, and improving the look, feel and variety of businesses in the town centres. And finally, to back innovative and sustainable businesses that bring long-term value. So it's not just about being there for the time that you have the grant money and then disappearing again. Obviously, they want you to stay around, and I would imagine that that's what you want to do too. Every application should speak to at least one of these goals, and ideally more, and all of them, I would think, would be a good thing. So, key details. There are the headline facts you need to keep in mind as you plan your application. It's a one-off grant program for 2025. They're not planning at this stage. I read into that for it to happen in 2026. So, because some grants do roll over into the following year, there's no guarantee it will run again. So it's now or never, guys. Please keep that in mind. You can apply for up to 15,000, excluding GST. It doesn't have to be the full 15,000, and we have an example where somebody actually does apply for less money than that. The target areas are again Moe and Morwell, CBDs only, not the outer suburbs. You must have or be ready to secure a commercial lease in one of those CBDs. And importantly, you can only submit once. No changes after submission. How often, Andrea, have you seen people say, oh, I made a mistake, or I put the draft in and not the final copy? Please don't do that.
Absolutely, please don't do that, because then we have to say no and we have to be the bad guys. So yeah, don't do that.
And you don't want to do that. No,
No.
Of course you don't. So it needs to be right the first time. Check, and triple check, please. It is important. It isn't a draft and review process. It's a one shot only. So let's look at what's funded. This grant only funds capital costs, meaning physical, tangible items that help activate a shopfront. You can apply for fit out and furnishings like counters, shelving and lighting. Equipment and IT hardware are eligible. Point of sale systems and laptops are examples. Council permits and fees tied to your setup are also included. You can also claim signage, security and shopfront upgrades. And finally, any other capital costs directly tied to activation, as long as they're clearly justified. And you really do need to clearly justify the expense. If in doubt, check whether it's a physical setup cost, because that's the focus here. Just as important as knowing what's eligible is knowing what's not. You can't use the grant for rent, wages or subscriptions, and that's quite normal across most grant programs. I think during COVID there might have been some that would allow some of these things, but honestly, in all the years that I have been writing grants and supporting people in grant programs, this is quite usual. These business as usual costs are not usually covered. Retrospective purchases, anything bought before you're approved, won't be covered. So get approval first. By all means, have the quote, have everything ready to go for when you do get approval, but do not make the purchase prior to approval. Marketing, events and promotions are also excluded. The grant won't cover legal advice or any personal expenses, which is not really a surprise. And no ongoing operational costs. This is about activation, not keeping the lights on. If your expense isn't directly tied to getting the doors open, it's probably not eligible, but it may be worth a conversation with the team. Would you not agree, Andrea?
Absolutely. Yes? We're more than happy for people, if they're in doubt, give us a call and ask the question. We're more than happy to chat with them about it.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we have a quick timeline here. Now, I haven't put all of the points in. I put the most important ones, getting to the point where the decision is made and you have been told how you fared. So it's a tight one, and be ready early. Don't leave anything till the last minute. So many people do that, and then there's this rush to get everything done, and often things are overlooked. And I always worry that the system is going to be overloaded at some stage. I don't know whether that's a fair thing to worry about, but I think all these people putting in their last minute applications and the system just goes, no, it can't cope with that. So remember that the applications open very shortly, 14th of April. They close on the 26th of May. By my estimation, that gives you about 6 weeks to actually write and check and get everything that you need together. There's a bit of documentation that you do need to get together. Decisions are going to be made by the 16th of June, and successful applicants will enter into a funding agreement after that time. Now, if there is any funds left over, there could potentially be a second round, but don't rely on it. It's very important that you don't think, oh, well, they'll open it up again and I'll get another go. Don't be thinking that way, because you could potentially miss out. So you need to treat this as your window of opportunity, this first round. Aim to be ready well before closing date. Last minute submissions are such a risk. They really are. And we do overlook things that just don't make our applications stand out. All right. There are core documents that you'll need to upload as part of your application. You do need a signed or draft lease, which it's essential, and it can be conditional on the grant being approved. That's fine, but you do need to have that in place. Of course, you need an ABN and registration details to confirm your business is legitimate. You must include evidence of insurance, typically public liability. Yes, that's what you're looking for, Andrea. Yes, great. A business plan and financial, even simple ones. At least it shows viability to the assessors. Quotes for your fit out or equipment should match the amount you're applying for. This is important. And while optional, supporting material like floor plans or letters of support can really help tell your story. And that's something that we're going to be doing. We're going to be telling a bit of a story about what these business ideas are, what you would like to set up. Make it easy for the assessors to see that you're ready, capable and credible. And that's an important thing. Make sure it is easy, it's clear, and be answering the questions that you're asked, telling the story that they're asking of you, so that they're not trying to dig around in the weeds, trying to work out whether you are actually going to be starting a business in Moe, Morwell or somewhere else, for instance. Although I think that would be pretty clear. This is the single most important mindset shift in grant writing. Answer the question that's actually asked, not the one that you wish had been. My daughter is a grant assessor for Victorian government, and honestly said it is the one thing that people fall over on. So you're going to hear me harp on about this, and I'm sorry if that gets a bit tedious, but please answer the question, not tell a story that you would like to tell. Too many applicants go off on tangents or tell passionate stories, but they miss the mark. Keep the criteria beside you, score where it counts. Stay relevant, direct and evidence-based. No marketing fluff, no motivational quotes, just clear, honest answers with real proof. I can see Andrea smiling there. So obviously you have seen this before, yes?
We have seen this before, Sally, yes. I like it.
Thank you. So every response must link back to the criteria. This is really important, whether you're applying for grants, putting in for tenders, or helping your children write a job application. It really needs to tie back to the criteria. If the question is about community benefit, don't write about your product range. That's a classic polka dot answer to a stripes question, and we're going to look at polka dots and stripes in a minute. Highlight your value, don't bury it. If the best bit is hidden in paragraph 5, you've lost them. They just don't have time. They'll be glancing over things. I know that they'll read in detail, but honestly, it's the first few lines that will grab attention. Be bold, lead with your strengths, and attach your evidence. In a competitive process like this, clarity and relevance beat creativity every time. Nail the brief, hit the target. That's the golden rule. There are 5 most common reasons applicants miss out. So I think we need to talk about them. It's a bit of an elephant in the room, I know. None are about having bad business ideas. They're about process, preparation, and clarity. Not reading the guidelines carefully is probably the number one thing. People skip straight to the form and miss critical details like eligibility, assessment weighting, or location requirements. Always start by reading the full guidelines. I've read through them. I think that you've done a great job at La Trobe in producing those. They're very clear, easy to read. Not always the case. So, failing to attach required documents. If they're asking for something, please provide the documentation. You could write a brilliant response, but if your lease or insurance certificate is missing, you're out. These are non-negotiables. Double check your uploads before submitting. Writing vague responses. We plan to grow doesn't cut it. Be specific. We'll expand 70 square metres and hire 2 casual staff by September is much better, and it's measurable and it scores well. Not answering the assessment criteria. This is the classic stripes versus polka dots issue. Don't tell them what excites you. Tell them what they asked. Stay on the brief. Submitting late or under pressure. Last minute submissions are extremely risky, as we've discussed. Tech fails, files go missing, and you only get one shot. Aim to submit at least 24 hours early. If you take one thing away today, even strong ideas fail if the basics are missed. These 5 are completely avoidable, and that makes them critical. So, do we have any questions about that section? Barry?
Yeah, just having a look. Yeah, look, I've got one question here. So it's, am I eligible if I'm signing a new lease for an existing premises that I'm currently doing business in?
Do you want me to tackle that one for you, or you may be. So if your new business, if your new lease includes growth, so if you can show that whatever you need from us, so the infrastructure or some equipment or something like that, if you can show that what you need from us is going to increase and grow your business, and you will be perhaps employing more people or growing the business, then you are likely to be eligible. But that's the sort of thing that you would probably have a conversation with us before you just simply apply. But yeah, it doesn't rule you out necessarily as long as there's growth involved.
Okay, I've got another question here. Just, is there a map of what streets are included in the CBD areas?
Yes, there is. Apparently, we've been told it's not fabulous, so we're going to see if we can fix that up a bit. But it is in the eligibility guidelines. But we have already had a question. Someone rang and asked about a specific address because it didn't look like it was included in the map, and we were able to tell them. But yes, it is in there. But we are looking to improve on that before it's actually, officially released, because yeah, we've been told it's not fabulous. So we'll fix it.
Okay, that's it for questions at this stage.
Thanks, Barry, and thanks, Andrea, for that. I did notice that the map was perhaps not super clear, so that's great that you're looking at that. And if you do have any queries, anybody who's thinking of submitting, please do ring the business development team. So now we're going to move on to the eligibility essentials, because these are the must-meet criteria. And if you don't meet these, they're a hurdle requirement, then it doesn't matter how fabulous the rest of your submission is, it's not going to get past this first gate. Let's look at what they are. It's your first checkpoint, as I said. If you can't tick all of these boxes, I'll repeat that, all of these boxes, this grant isn't for you, and applying will waste your time. Small business means fewer than 20 full-time equivalent staff. You must be operating in, expanding into, or relocating to a commercial shopfront in Moe or Morwell CBD. You need an ABN and a proper business structure, sole trader, partnership or company. All required licenses or registrations must be in place for your industry. A 12-month lease is required, but it can be conditional, as we've discussed before, on grant success. You must show financial viability, usually through the basic forecasts or your business plans. Insurance is mandatory, public liability at a minimum. And finally, no unresolved grants or debts with the council. If you're unsure about anything here, especially location or lease conditions, speak to the council early. These are firm eligibility points. But Andrea, I might ask you about that final one. It would be worth a conversation, wouldn't it? Because it would be a bit dependent on the details.
Absolutely. And that's acquittals or debts with relation to your business. So an example that I gave to someone who recently asked was, if, for example, you are the president of a community group and your community group got a community grant from council and it hasn't been acquitted yet or something like that, that doesn't make you ineligible. That's related to a side activity. This is specific debts to council in relation to your business. So, I think of any off the top of my head actually, but yeah, not related to your private world, but related to your business world. But definitely ring us, have a conversation. More than happy to chat with anyone who's interested.
Thanks, Andrea. That's great. So these are the don't waste your time ineligibility criteria. Even a brilliant idea won't get funded if you fall into one of these categories, unfortunately. They are hard exclusions, no exceptions. Franchisees or subsidiaries of large companies are out. Unincorporated entities are only eligible if specifically allowed, which this grant doesn't do. Government, political or foundation-based applicants are also ineligible. Council staff, contractors or their immediate families can't apply. And I'm going to throw back to you on that one again, Andrea, because we've had that question before. And if you've previously breached grant conditions, you're not eligible, which we just discussed. If there's any uncertainty, check in with the business development team before applying. So if I could ask you, it's always a bit of a grey area, isn't it, about council staff and their immediate families?
Yes. Look, again, we may have to have a conversation with you as to how we would determine that. But generally, I can't apply for a grant to start a business. My sister can't apply for a grant to start a business because I work here and will be overseeing the grant process, or one of the staff overseeing the grant process. As far as contractors go, it's people with specific contracts with council. So it's not someone who may have done a footpath for us years and years ago but doesn't get regular work. It's people that we have specific contracts with. So, but again, it's one of those things where if you're not sure, pick up the phone or flick us an email, give us a call, and we will happily have that conversation with you. Yep.
Fabulous. Thank you, Andrea. So there are some documents that you'll need to back up your application. If they're missing, you're likely to lose points at best or be ruled ineligible altogether at worst. You'll need your ABN, business registration and a lease, even if it's draft or conditional. You'll need your insurance, it's a non-negotiable, and your business plan, financials and quotes to show that you're ready. And don't underestimate the supporting docs. Visuals and letters can help bring your application to life. Double check every upload before hitting submit is also a very good idea. I know even with this presentation, I went skipped through it before I came online, and one of the slides, everything had moved. I don't know why. So things happen. Go back, check it, double check it, PDF it if you can. So that usually holds it in place. Right, so we have a couple of real world examples here just to give you a bit of an idea. You'd obviously need to fill these body them out a bit more, but just wanted to give you a couple of quick ideas. These examples show you what a strong, ready to go application looks like, not just in theory, but in practice. So Maria is moving from a home-based setup to a Moe CBD shopfront. She's done her planning, found a location and applied for fit out costs. She backs it up with a business plan, cash flow forecast and insurance. She's not just dreaming, she's delivery ready. And I think Andrea would like to see an application like that, yes?
Absolutely, that's what we love.
Great, thank you. Liam is expanding a successful barbershop by opening a second site in Morwell. He's applying for capital expenses and council permits, and he clearly shows how his business will create jobs and activate the space. Both have solid plans, clear alignment with the grant's purpose and strong documentation. This is what success looks like. So this is what we're all going to be aiming for. So are there any questions about the eligibility essentials? Barry?
No further questions at this stage, Sally. All good.
Thank you for that. And questions are always welcome by the business development team. If after you've seen this, because I know that's so me, I watch something, don't have any questions, and then afterwards think, oh, actually, I do. So please do give them a call. They welcome your calls. Let's get to writing to win. This is kind of my favourite part now. So firstly, it's a good idea to understand that this is a human process. A panel of council staff, generally council staff, sometimes outsiders, externals are brought in. I've certainly been brought in to do assessments too, but it's generally council staff who read every eligible application. Eligible application. I will repeat that again because it's really important that you keep that in mind. They don't know you. They only know what you put forward in your answers and documents. Your job is to make it easy for them to see how you meet the criteria, why your project stands out, and how you'll deliver on the grant's intent. Imagine you're a panel member reading 25 applications over 2 days. I would say sometimes more than 25, actually. Yes. The clearer, sharper, and more relevant yours is, the better your chances are. Remember, it's a competitive process. Now that you've met the panel, here's how they make their decisions. The process is structured and designed to be fair. First, they check whether your application is eligible. That's the easy part. Then comes the scoring. Every answer you write is assessed against the criteria. Stronger, clearer, evidence-based answers get higher marks. It's not just about passion, it's about precision. This is why the next slide, the weightings, really matter. This weighting tells you everything about how to write a successful application, really. The majority of your score, 50%, comes from your business plan and your team's experience. So put the most effort here. If you're vague here, you've already lost half the marks, and you can't really afford to do that. Financial viability and community benefit are still critical. I'm not saying that you shouldn't put effort into them, but you don't have to write essays for these areas. Just be clear, relevant, and back it up with evidence. So let's go and revisit criteria 1. This is not about copying a generic business plan into an attachment and hoping for the best. It's about showing that you have clear, realistic, and localized plan for success. What makes your business stand out? How are you suited to run it? So tell a little bit about your experience, about your team's experience, and what will you do to make it thrive in Morwell or Moe? That's important. They want to hear that story. It's really important. If you're new to business, that's okay. They will understand that as well. I can see Andrea nodding there very encouragingly. Thank you. Just explain your background and how you've prepared for this. Maybe you've done a course, or you have been shadowing another business owner, you've been receiving coaching or mentoring, whatever it is that you've been doing to prepare for this, then just tell the team about that. If you've been operating already, show your track record and how you'll expand. Remember, this is worth 50% of your score, 50%. And if you don't get this right, the rest won't carry you through. I really don't see how it can. So it's very, very important. So criterion 2 is about confidence. And actually by confidence, I mean the business development team's confidence. So assessors need to believe that if you're funded, you'll follow through and succeed. They want you to succeed. Not just open your doors, but keep them open beyond the time of the grant. A common trap is listing costs without context. Tell them what you're spending the grant money on, how it fits your broader business plan, and that you're financially prepared to operate, not just start. It doesn't have to be complex, but it does have to be credible. Use real numbers, not ballpark guesses, guys. If you're relying on other funding, be transparent. I don't think there's any problem with combining it with other funding, Andrea.
No, definitely not. No, not at all.
Okay, great. So you can do that. You just need to be transparent. Now, this isn't about charitable work. It's about public value. Keep that in mind. The council wants to invest in businesses that help revitalise Moe and Morwell. Think about what your presence adds to the streetscape. Jobs, colour, movement, safety, energy. There's lots of things that happens when a revitalisation happens. If you're hiring locally, offering longer opening hours or drawing new people into the CBD, say that. Tell the council that. They want to know about that. If you're offering services not currently available or building community partnerships, mention them. This is gold. This is the story of how your business fits into the bigger picture, and that picture really matters. So remember I talked about stripes, not polka dots earlier. This is where we talk about it a bit more. It's where many applications fall apart. Someone asks, tell us how your business will create jobs. And the applicant answers, we're passionate about wellness and the community. That's a polka dot response to a stripes question. It's not that your passion isn't valuable, it is, but the panel is scoring your answer to a specific question. Be direct, be clear, and stay on pattern. Relevance is your secret weapon in a competitive process. These are the most common pitfalls, and they are totally avoidable. Assessors don't expect perfection, but they do expect relevance, clarity, and consistency. If you miss a required attachment or write something too vague to score, you're making their decision easy, just not in your favour, unfortunately, and none of us want that. Treat your application like a business case. Would you fund it on what's in front of you? Ask yourself that critical question. So, do we have any questions about the assessment criteria?
Yes, Sally, we do. Just in terms of proving financial viability, is there any requirement such as a minimum business owner contribution or minimum level of equity that a business owner needs to be able to demonstrate, or other funding sources that are guaranteed or going to be part of this? Is there any sort of co-contribution requirement with this grant?
No, what we want to see is that people have done their homework. If they're starting up a brand new business, we want to see that they've done their homework and they know that they can make this work. So, and if they're expanding, we want to know that they've got enough backing to do it. So the idea being, if we didn't fund you, would you still be able to do this anyway? So we want to be able to see, you don't have to have run a business before, like Sally said, you can be brand new to business, but we would like to see that you've done your homework, done your figures, haven't just gone, yay, I reckon I know how to run a business, but you've thought about how much do you need to charge so that how much do you need to make? How much do you need to make to cover your rent and your utilities and all of that sort of, so a template showing that you've done that homework will be absolutely critical. And no, there is no co-contribution. There's nothing wrong with if you've got other resources and grant opportunities that you want to put in together, perfectly fine. At this particular grant is almost the gravy on top. So you were going to run a business anyway. This is kind of like the gravy on top that we will pay for some of your requirements that you're going to need to run that business. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah. And a follow-on to that then is, if I couldn't proceed without the grant, would I be eligible?
It's worth a conversation first, but like I said, it's a bit like the gravy on the top. We want to know that your business can proceed and can be as successful as you can make it without our grant. And our grant is just to help you with your infrastructure costs or your permit fees or all that sort of stuff. So you need to be able to still pay your rent, pay your utilities, pay your staff. You need to have an understanding of how that all works before you even apply for the grant. I'm not saying no, I'm saying have a conversation with us, but certainly we want to see either already going concerns or proof that it can be a going concern.
Okay, that's it for questions.
Thank you. They were great questions. And Andrew, great answers too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to look at the Smarty Grants platform. Many of you will have already used it in previous grant rounds, but I know it is a bit daunting when you do it, using it for the first time. So it is a bit of a shifting gears from what we've been doing into the practical how-to part of the process. Actually submitting your application through Smarty Grants obviously is a very important part, because if you don't submit through Smarty Grants, then your grant doesn't actually get to be assessed for eligibility or for the quality of your sponsors. So this section is about avoiding technical pitfalls, understanding how the online form works and making sure your attachments are correct and complete. We'll walk through the basics, highlight a few key tips and cover what to expect after you press the submit button so that it's all clear for you. Here's the big picture process to guide your application from start to finish. It's a bit of a boring slide, I know, but there just wasn't any room for any pretty graphics or anything like that. But it is important that you understand this. And the first thing I'm going to say, and I probably should have hammered it home a bit earlier, is read the guidelines thoroughly. It is so important to read the guidelines. Read them with a highlighter, reread them. Get a friend or family member to read them and make sure, test your idea on somebody else beforehand, because it takes quite a bit of work to put in for a grant. And if you don't meet the eligibility criteria or you're waffling in your answers, which we've discussed previously, then it's a really good idea to have somebody say, hey, I think maybe you've gone off track a little bit here. So start here always with the guidelines. Understand what's eligible, what's not, what documents are required. Skipping this step is where many applications go wrong. People will say to the poor economic development team, oh, I didn't realise I needed to do that, but it was clearly in the guidelines. Register or log into Smarty Grants. Now, I suggest if you're even just considering putting in for this grant, register early with Smarty Grants, get a little bit familiar with the platform. I think it's a great platform, but I'm used to looking at it too. And whenever I have to work with new platforms, I get a little worried about, do I understand what I need to do and how to navigate it? So get in there and have a little bit of a look. And if you have any questions about that, there is a slide coming up where you can ask the Smarty Grants team. So technical issues go to Smarty Grants, not to the business development team. You'll need this Smarty Grants account, as I said, if you've applied before, you probably already have one, but use a professional email if you are signing up, not your personal email, and council will use this to contact you. Prepare your application offline first. Very important that you do that, particularly if you're getting it reviewed, if you are looking to use the mentoring that is being made available to you to assist in writing the grant. If you have it offline, you could send it to your mentor and they can have a look at it first. So don't write directly into the online form. Draft your answers in Word or Notes app or whatever it is that you use. That way you can edit, spell check, save it, share it with others, and you won't lose work if your browser crashes, because that has happened to me. So that's my warning right there. Uploading supporting documents and submit. Attach everything required. No, we're repeating this, but it is important. Your business plan, lease, insurance, quotes, etc. Check that file names are clear and readable. Once you click submit, that's it. No changes. So make sure that you do that. And then you should get a confirmation and follow-up email. You'll get an email confirming that you have submitted. If you don't get this, I would probably go first to the team at La Trobe before Smarty Grants, because they may be able to see it in the back end of Smarty Grants and there just might have been a glitch. But there is a chance that your application didn't go through. And this is why we need to actually submit early, which it's important, because if you're submitting at 5 minutes to the deadline and you don't get a confirmation email, then you're going to have to ring the council the next day and explain that you did try, and there may be no proof that you did. That's very dangerous ground to be on. You've put all of the effort into getting your application ready. So please, please, please submit early as you possibly can, obviously with doing all the checks and balances and everything else. Remember, 16th of June, they will be they will actually contact you, for the successful applicants will get contacted, and that's when the funding agreements begin. The 5 steps are really simple, but each one genuinely matters, especially steps 1 to 4 at this stage. So let's focus on those. Your attachments are just as important as your written responses in reality. They back up everything that you've said. So first, understand what's required versus what's optional. The essentials are your lease, insurance, and business plan, financials, and quotes. They must be there. If they're missing, you may be ruled ineligible. Second, use the right format. Always upload clear PDFs. Avoid photos of documents unless that's your only option, and make sure that they are legible, that they're clear. Third, label your files properly. Imagine the assessor opening 50 files called Document 1, because that's what the automatic file save is. Instead, use clear names like Liam/fitout quote. That's much clearer. Finally, remember, attachments add credibility. If you say you're expanding or hiring, show it in a quote or a staffing plan. The assessors aren't mind readers. Prove your case. I don't know. You might be mind readers sometimes, Andrea. Do you think? No?
Not very often, no.
Okay. So weak attachments can undo a great narrative. Strong attachments seal the deal. Barry, were you going to ask a question then? You kind of leaned in.
No, I was just shuffling around.
Okay, thank you. I just thought we might have missed a great question. These are the technical missteps that can trip people up, and they're all avoidable with a bit of planning. Don't leave submission until the final hours, as we've discussed. Smarty Grants can time out or crash. It's a platform after all. It doesn't auto-save, or at least last time I used it, it didn't. So I think proceed as if it doesn't auto-save. So save your work often as you're working through. Before you hit submit, double check that every required attachment is there. The system won't always prompt you. After you submit, you must receive that confirmation email. If it doesn't come through, your application may not have been received. And finally, use a desktop browser like Chrome or Firefox. Smarty Grants doesn't play well with some mobile devices or outdated browsers. So just keep that in mind if you are thinking of using something other than Chrome or Firefox. A strong application can be undone by a weak upload. Don't let that be you. Please don't let that be you. So let's finish this section with a few tips to make the submission process painless and professional. Create a checklist. Actually, I've got a checklist. Barry, we created a checklist we might be able to share. Yes? Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that has all the documents and the criteria. It'll help you track the progress and avoid last-minute scrambling. Draft offline in Word or Google Docs. It's safer and easier to review your work before uploading. Submit early. Ideally, at least 24 hours before the deadline. And I'd like to encourage you to submit even earlier than that. Then it's off your plate and no more sleepless nights or any of those sorts of things. That gives you room to troubleshoot or ask counsel a last-minute question. Proofread everything and then proofread it again, including your attachments and file names. One rushed upload can undo a great response. And after submitting, save your confirmation email and submission receipt in a safe folder. Professionalism shows in the little things, and that includes how you submit. You've done the hard work now, submitted a clear and competitive application. Andrew and Zane are smiling away at the quality of applications that they have got because people have attended today, watched the video, maybe re-watched the video even. They've rung and spoken to Zane and perhaps Andrea and had a chat about any questions or things that they're not quite clear about. So now it's left to wait and maybe offer a silent prayer to the grant gods. This is a competitive process, so not every application will succeed, but submitting a thoughtful, complete and targeted proposal puts you in the strongest possible position. And if it doesn't go your way, apply the same strategy to the next opportunity. Every strong grant builds your capacity and clarity for future rounds. Any questions about Smarty grants? Barry?
Yeah, I've just got one question. If I'm having trouble with Smarty grants, where can I find the Smarty grants support contact information? What's the best way to contact them?
So may I click to the next slide?
You may.
Here we go, the supports area. So first we're going to talk about pitfalls, and then Barry will come back to that. I actually have a slide which I suggest that people maybe take a photo of with their phone so that they've got it handy, easy to find. It has the contact details there. Right, so now we're in the final section. Thank you all for your attention. And it's one of the most important. These are the mistakes that cost people funding, and they're usually avoidable. I'll walk you through the top 5 pitfalls and then show you where to get support, especially if you're feeling unsure or stuck. The goal is not just to apply, it's to apply well, obviously. And this section is about giving you that final polish. These aren't business flaws, they're process flaws, and that's good news. It means you can fix them with a bit of care and planning. If your idea is strong, but your application is rushed, vague, or missing documents, that's what costs you funding. These aren't uncommon mistakes, unfortunately, but they are avoidable. So your takeaway here is simple. Slow down, get clear, check everything before you submit. That's how strong applications rise to the top. This slide shows how even a small change in wording can mean the difference between a vague response and a score-winning one. On the left, generalities, hope, and intention. These types of answers feel good to write, but they don't hit the mark with assessors, unfortunately. On the right, specifics, actions, and evidence. These give assessors clarity and confidence. That's how you score well. So when you're answering the application, always ask, can I be more specific? Can I prove this? Have I actually answered the question? Polka dots and stripes. This one slide summarizes the golden rule in action. So now we're at the help slide. You're not expected to do this entirely alone, of course. There is real help available, and I encourage you to use it. It is so good to get somebody else to review your submission before submission, talk to somebody at the council if you have any queries or questions, you're unsure about anything. Firstly, SPMS is offering free mentoring session to support your grant application. Now, I know that the QR code there is blurry, Barry, so do we have
I just tested the QR code, Sally, and it works fine.
Okay, oh, good. Well, that I have to say that is a surprise because I felt that it was too blurry, but that's great news. So you can use the QR code to access the session, and you can use your mentoring session, which I am going to talk to you a little bit about in a minute, to clarify your strategy, review your answers, or even get a second opinion on your draft. Not to write your application, because your mentor can't possibly know a lot about your business in a session. It's just not possible to do that. So you need to have done some of the work already. They can certainly help guide you, maybe with further things that you may require, those sorts of things, definitely. But do make a start before you talk to your mentor. Secondly, if you're unsure about something in the guidelines, email the council team early, not at the last minute, or give them a call. We have Zane's email there, but earlier I spoke to Andrea and she said that that'll be fine, that'll still get through. Yes, nodding, good. So don't do that at the last minute. They want to see quality application, and that starts with clear communication. And finally, if you're having trouble with the actual Smarty Grants platform, use their support portal. better to fix a tech issue now than at 11:55 p.m. on the deadline day. Please don't do that. I have had clients do that. Help is there, so take it. So the first thing to do is to talk to the business concierge first, and they will help you. It's an important one that many applicants overlook. So the council strongly encourage you to connect with their business concierge before you apply. This isn't just about courtesy, it's a strategic move. The concierge can help you clarify your business idea, explore location options, and ensure you're getting set up for success within the CBD zones. It also signals to the council that you've done a bit of homework and you're taking initiative. And that always reflects well in a competitive process. To book a session, you just need to complete a quick online form on the council's website. Is that correct, Andrea?
That is correct. I'm actually the concierge for Latrobe City Council. So, yeah, my role is to make sure that you know of all the permits and requirements, registrations that you may need. So, for example, you're starting up a new business in the Morwell CBD and it's a hospitality business, you'll need a health registration. So I can walk you through the process for that. So instead of people needing to speak with lots of different teams within council, they just speak to me and I coordinate all of that for them. So as a one-stop, person connection. So absolutely, you can request an appointment or just ring the 1300 number that was on the previous slide and ask for the business concierge, and everyone in the contact centre knows to put you through to me. I've been here forever. So yeah, more than happy to help. And Sally's right, it does show that you've done a bit of due diligence before your application to understand that there may be permits or registrations involved in it. So yeah, it's a good thing to do. Contact me.
Lovely. Thank you, Andrea. How perfect that you're here. That's just perfect. So my understanding is that once submitted, someone, which will be you, Andrea, will get in touch to set up a time. It's free. It's easy by the sound of it. And
Yes.
It could give your application the edge.
Yes.
So if you're serious, great. So if
Yeah.
you're serious about applying, this is absolutely worth doing. Please take up this offer. Now, I want to leave you with this. Actually, I think I've missed a slide. May I go back one? Yes. I don't know why it skipped that one. This is the one where I get to talk about the SBMS mentoring sessions. Or Barry, would you like to talk about the SBMS mentoring sessions?
Sally, happy for you to run through it.
Okay, right, give it to me. So I'd like to spend a bit of time talking about preparing for your mentoring session to ensure that you get the most out of it. I honestly understand that everybody is really busy and it's easy to put starting the grant application in the too hard basket and leave it until the last minute or until you get to speak to a mentor. But, and this is truly the voice of experience speaking, it's not possible for your mentor to wave a magic wand, and I usually have a magic wand with me when I wave here, and gather all the evidence required and write the application for you in a day. I have been asked to do that, but it's just not possible. Believe me, I've tried to do my best for clients in the past, and it's exceptionally stressful for everybody, including the mentor. And it's probable that there has not been enough time to put thinking about the project in and gathering the necessary support documentation and evidence to make a really strong application. Your mentor will absolutely have your best interests at heart and want you to succeed, but they simply cannot come up with these things for you. Only you know your business. So it's only you who can create the project, produce the supporting evidence. Once this is done, however, the mentor can step in and really help you to create a compelling application that meets all the criteria and has far more likely chance of being funded. Okay, they're my strong words about mentoring. So I'd like to leave you with some final words of encouragement. Going through this process is valuable, no matter what the outcome is. You've taken the time to understand what funders look for, reflect on your business goals, and articulate your value. that's already progress. Sometimes writing a grant forces you to do what you've been putting off, updating your business plan, forecasting cash flow, and getting those quotes ready. Even if you don't win the grant, that work is never wasted. So don't let self-doubt or overwhelm talk you out of applying. You're already more than ready. And if you get stuck, remember, help is available. Thanks for being here today, and I truly hope your application brings new energy, growth, and possibility for your business, and of course for Moe and Morwell. So are there any questions about common pitfalls and support, Barry?
No, Sally, no more questions.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, that was great. Thanks very much.
Lovely. Well, the final slide is just returning to our first slide about the things that we've looked at today, the grant at a glance, eligibility essentials, writing to win, of course, Smarty grants and submitting, and common pitfalls. Thank you, Barry, Tara and I from SBMS. And of course, the La Trobe team. Hope that you're feeling much more confident about your grant application now. And remember, you're not completely on your own. There is additional support available from experienced mentors at SBMS and from the La Trobe team. I'll just pop the oh no, do you want the mentoring slide again? We don't need that again. No, I don't need that again. So the QR code is on that slide though. And Barry, if people have any trouble accessing the mentoring this way, is there another option available?
They can certainly contact SBMS on 1300 816 817 or inquire at sbms.org.au, or I'm sure Andrea at the La Trobe City Business Concierge team will be able to assist with organising that mentoring session.
Yes, absolutely, we can. Yep.
Thank you, Andrea. Barry, Tara.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you so much. You've done a brilliant presentation there. I really, really appreciate it. I'm sure the people online appreciate it. The people who get to see it afterwards will appreciate it. I particularly like the cute little animals, but that's just me. Thank you so much to SBMS and particularly to you, Sally. Really, really appreciate your assistance. All the details are there. If you've got any questions, just please give us a call. We're more than happy to answer. Thank you.